I'm Dr. Stream, a board certified family medicine sports medicine doctor. In this video, we're going to discuss whether lifting weights should be prioritized or not over cardio exercises like walking, biking, swimming if you have type 2 diabetes with a normal BMI. So this video is particularly relevant for Asians trying to better control that type 2 diabetes. I'm going to explore this topic with a recent study that was published in Diabetology. So without further ado, let's get started. So unfortunately, the rise of type 2 diabetes among South Asians is estimated to be more than 150% between 2000 and 2035. So exercise plays an integral role in controlling diabetes, and in some cases even remission of diabetes. So in the recent years, we've been trying to figure out which type of exercise should be given more importance for type 2 diabetes. Is it going to be strength training or is it going to be aerobic exercise? However, there is no universal answer. And the reason is because there are two distinct groups of people who develop type 2 diabetes. So the first group consists of individuals who are significantly overweight or obese. The weight has a big impact on the diabetes. Then we've got the second group who have a normal weight and BMI, but they still find themselves dealing with diabetes. So let's first understand on what happens when we eat carbohydrates. So basically they're broken down into glucose, which is then stored in the muscle and liver as glycogen, and the excess glucose gets stored as fat. So during exercise, such as let us say you're walking or jogging, a portion of our energy is derived from the glycogen that is stored in the muscle and liver. In addition, the muscle actually act as sponges. So basically they absorb glucose into the muscles, and they can do that without requiring insulin. So basically the role of muscle cells is really important in managing diabetes. So Asians may have comparatively lower muscle mass compared to other ethnicities. So this likely leads to decreased muscle store, which is basically muscle glycogen, and thereby leading to an increased storage of fat, which can accumulate in the liver, resulting in fatty liver, and can deposit fat around the organs and thereby causing insulin resistance, and basically they are creating barriers for the insulin to properly act in the muscles and liver, and thereby leading to high blood sugar levels. So it's pretty clear that aerobic exercise such as like jogging, biking, swimming, they can improve the insulin sensitivity and thereby help to regulate blood sugar. However, so let us say in Asians, if they have decreased muscle mass, but if they have normal weight and normal BMI, the chances are that they're being skinny fat. So basically they have increased fat in relation to the muscle mass that they have. So in this scenario, improving muscle mass might probably help better manage the diabetes compared to just doing aerobic exercise alone. So this was exactly the objective of this particular study that was published last year. So the study included individuals with a BMI of less than 25 who had diabetes. Even though the study did not specifically focus on Asians, what's interesting is that the study population was predominantly Asian, with approximately 83% being of an Asian descent, and the study itself was conducted in San Francisco. This study was really well executed, but unfortunately there were some participants that were lost due to the COVID-19 pandemic at the time. So however, despite these setbacks, a total of 186 individuals participated in the study, with 103 of them being included in the final analysis. So the reduced number of participants that were included in the final analysis is because of the COVID-19 related issues, where subjects were not able to go to the gym regularly because of the restrictions at the time, and therefore they were not able to be included in the final analysis. Even though this could have affected the study's quality a little bit, still the study actually provides the answer to the research question. So the study included a total of 186 participants, and they were ultimately divided into three groups. So one was aerobic training, the other was strength training only, and the other one was a combination of aerobic and strength training. So in the strength training group, the participants performed a full body workout 3 times a week. Then you have the aerobic group, where they were given specific guidelines on the number of calories to burn throughout the week, and they had the option to engage in either moderate or vigorous exercise. Now for the combination group, the participants engage in 2 full body strength training sessions per week, and they were also provided with instructions on how many calories to expend through aerobic exercise. The goal was to match the calorie expenditure of the aerobic group. So the intervention was then spanned over a period of 9 months, with the goal of assessing which group showed greater improvements in A1C levels. So when they compared results within the groups, it was observed that the strength training group outperformed both the aerobic and the combination groups. On average, there was a reduction of approximately 0.4 points in A1C levels. So to provide context, if someone's A1C was initially 7.6, incorporating strength training could bring it down to almost 7.2. However, even though for the other groups, they're able to see a slight reduction of A1C levels of around like 0.2 to 0.3, it still did not reach statistical significance. So the key finding is that the strength training group actually noticed significant improvements in lean muscle mass, and these improvements were not at the similar level in both the aerobic and the combination group. So the A1C reduction is clearly associated with the amount of lean muscle mass that they were able to achieve during that 9-month intervention period. So is my final recommendation for individuals with diabetes in the Asian population different? To some extent, yes. However, the primary recommendation remains the same for everyone. So the goal is to focus on either moderate intensity exercise for 150 to 300 minutes per week, or vigorous intensity exercise for 75 to 150 minutes per week, or a combination of both. Additionally, a person has to engage in a minimum of 2 days of strength training per week. So how for individuals who have a normal BMI who still have type 2 diabetes, my recommendation changes slightly. So for these individuals, I suggest focusing on at least 3 days of strength training per week. So if you have to cut back on the aerobic exercise to include 1 more day of strength training, then I would highly recommend to do so. However, if on the other hand, if you're someone with a higher BMI, then in that case, you have to focus more on calorie expenditure to reduce fat mass, which might end up spending more time in the aerobic exercise. So I hope this video is helpful. So if you're someone who's trying to figure out how to get started with strength training, then this video is going to be really helpful. If you want to understand how exercise, both aerobic and strength training exercise, can help with the diabetes, then check out this video here. And if you have any questions or comments, please post in the comment box below. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.